What's up, dudes and not dudes? Okay, so this week we're going to cover the topic of a rifleman. So we're just going to talk. It's not a show and tell time. It's not time to show off all the hype beast gear, general purpose night vision goggles and stuff like that. Um, I just want to talk about like the constituent qualities of a rifleman. Somebody dependable with a rifle. Does that make sense? Um, okay, so we know about like gun safety and gun ownership. Now, wait, before we get into all of that, we got three people in here. Before we get into all of that, I'm Marshall Williams. I am what makes me a subject matter expert. I'm a combat infantryman. I served with 10th Mountain Division from 2004 to 10 and the Korengal Valley and Barge Mattal and other spots in Kunar province. But either way, I know a thing or two about carrying a rifle and what it means to be dependable with a rifle. Okay, and you don't have to have like a $7,000 rifle in order to be a rifleman. Okay, and we'll get into all of this stuff and like the kind of stuff that you do need, what you actually do need, and what you kind of don't, what should take priority over what, gear wise, as well as competency wise. So, if you guys have any questions, I'll try to catch them as they fly across the screen. YouTube's kind of weird about it. The commentary disappears after a while, so if I don't catch it, I apologize. I also, due to YouTube rules, I can't be live like with a firearm and stuff like that. So like I can't demonstrate things for you like live in that sense, okay? So bear with me. So we all know about, by the way, down here, you might see him over the course of this broadcast. It's Vinny. He's my dog. He's about 8 months old, but he's just chilling next to me. Okay, so safety. Everybody knows as a gun owner, like the 4 cardinal rules of gun safety. Okay, well, I want you to further beyond this, understand, like beyond the range, understand, let's see, check out the Brofest on the Telegram chat. Yeah, dude, it's kind of weird, man. The Telegram chat has been like taken over by, I don't know, man. Like lots of dudes like talking about fitness, and then out come like the half naked photos, and like honestly, it's kind of weird, and I just kind of let it do what it's doing. And I'm just gonna pay more attention to the channel. But you're right on that. Okay, so going beyond like the cardinal rules of gun safety and like the range etiquette out there, I want you to understand that gunfighting is inherently unsafe. Okay. And like what I mean by that is like, yes, we as professionals have the ultimate discipline on our weapon, but sometimes like circumstances may be unavoidable to where you accidentally flag a team member. You accidentally like, okay, so, and understand that like, also with it being inherently unsafe with regard to receiving incoming fire, that means you have to apply your own blanket of safety the majority of the time in a what we'll call a non-permissive environment. Okay, so gunfighting is inherently unsafe. People being shot is an inherent byproduct. It's not even a byproduct, it's a direct effect of gunfighting. Okay, so be ready to be shot. You know what they say, like you get into a knife fight, you can expect to be cut. Okay, so same thing here, man. Expect to be shot. And also expect like within this, like the realm of medical stuff, that other people may incur wound too. And so if you're the only person there that can afford them any sort of life-saving countermeasure being like evacuation, like you might be up for it. And so I hope you're physically fit enough for something like that. Can you throw somebody on your back and get them out of harm's way and still maintain control of a weapon through this whole process? Let's see here. Okay, so let's say you get into a defensive shooting here stateside, right? Because it's a little different territory than an actual war zone. I always tell people if you're going to carry a gun, you might as well carry either an attorney or $250,000 or both in your back pocket too, because you're going to need that in the event that you use it. So this is all something that I want you to be cognizant of, okay? Let's see what else on here. Okay, so the traits of like what kind of character traits would make up somebody who is dependable. Okay, so within like, and I can speak from my realm of leadership, that people who are selfless, that put the welfare or the outcome of what the team is trying to accomplish over their own comfort, their own desires, wants, emotional instabilities, and things like that. With regard to family members that are kind of, okay, man, like I totally get it. Like, how do you approach like this significant other that that won't take up any sort of orientation towards this competency? Well, like I would like the significant others out there that are watching this to understand that what if your lack of knowledge in this area contributed to, how do I word this, a deficiency somewhere that would cause your significant other to become hurt, aka your lack of initiative or knowledge towards a situation cause them to expose themselves to great danger in an effort to help you or save you. I guess that would be the appropriate term, because you really need to be saved. You aren't an asset so much as you are a liability at that point. So like, take that into consideration. Like, I know that like, okay, I have spent an entire career working with firearms, okay? I'm very familiar with them, oriented towards them. They don't make me very nervous, okay? So how do you think that happened? That happened, I need something to drink real quick. Give me just a second. I'm sorry. Good old Red Bull will do it. Okay, so how do you think I became so comfortable with firearms? It's because I was exposed to it gradually, incrementally. So what starts off as handling or disassembling a firearm in the house, then you can move to handling and walking around the house, and then you can go to the range. And like, I understand ammo is something that needs to be conserved. There's nothing saying you can't go to the range and just dry fire for 45 minutes and then shoot a little bit and then go back to dry firing, okay? I'm getting kind of off topic here. Okay, so we're familiar with like relationship dynamics, where it's common value versus common interest. Like, just because you and I both like punk rock doesn't mean that we both have common values. It means we have common interest. Both of us eating last in the sense of leadership and feeding our subordinates, that means we both have common value and common ethic, okay? So we don't have to be like buddy, but we do have to see similarly eye to eye ethically, because if we ever want to work with somebody else with a gun, we have to learn to overcome differences, and we have to communicate and do it effectively. Okay. People who are well emotionally managed, man, who can not emotionally act in the moment. So this is like logic versus emotion. Take a tactical pause. I hate the word tactical. Take a practical pause and assess the situation before you overcommit to something that may get you or somebody else hurt. Now, what is important is when you do decide to act, is that you decide to act decisively, violently. Yes. Okay, so that is an inherent trait. Like, very often in the realm of combat, I've made incorrect choices, but because I so swiftly followed through with those choices, everything was okay. Okay, it doesn't have to be the right choice. It just has to be a choice. People who are physically fit, people who are resilient, who don't feel sorry for themselves easily, people who are actively engaged in martial arts. They fight with frequency. A basic knowledge of trauma medicine. When we get into gear here in a second, I'll go over the full extent of the kind of medical equipment you should have if you aren't like a doctor or something like that. But either way, here's Vinny right down here. Let me see. That's Vin. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so initiative is always appreciated. People don't have to be told what to do. Like, okay, let's say, and on the civilian side, you're going to be lucky, like if you're able to work with like 4 people at a time. And so if you have to do like a patrol base with this amount of personnel, you need people who are going to be proactive, who will automatically pick up gaps in security, will automatically checklist things that need to be done in order to move on to the next task at hand. Being receptive to criticism is a big one. Okay, it's not letting your ego make you feel foolish just because you didn't know something or you didn't perform something correctly or somebody saw something outside of your scope of view that you could do better. We're all trying to get better here and work towards hopefully a common goal. So be receptive to criticism. It's professional. It's not personal. Try not to make it all personal. Let me see. Let's go down gear real quick. Okay. So remember how I said you don't need like a $7,000, $8,000 rifle in order to, right. Like I could in theory pick up a $400 Bushmaster 5.56 and run circles around somebody with a $6,000 Radian rifle. Okay. It's about you, the shooter. I know dudes who have a $6,000 rifle, but they end up using it as a cane because they get so winded by the end of the firing schedule. That's not okay. I've seen this before and it's not okay. Vinny, down. Good, stay. So it's about priorities, man. And I'm going to say something else. You need to know how to run a weapon with both hands. Because I don't know if you knew this, but weapons being held at the chest, they tend to get shot. It's a center mass placement, okay? So think about that, and it could change real quickly. Or it could happen just as easily. You might have to pull somebody out of a burning building or a burning car. Now you've lost the full range of motion in one of your hands. So it could happen quick, okay? So, but I'm right eye dominant or I'm left eye dominant. I get it. But you can condition your eyes too. Believe that. Let's see. So equipment, rifle. Get a good basic rifle. I tend to select weapons that have procured a Department of Defense manufacturing contract because they are more prevalent in the industry this way with regard to gunsmithing and aftermarket support, okay? Now, I might get deeply personal here. People have a tendency to purchase guns as like an extension of their identity or their ego or whatever the case is. Just subscribed yesterday. Love the channel. Cool. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Okay. So, hey. All right. Sorry about that. I'm not paying attention. That's my bad as a handler with Vinny. But, okay. So either way, you get yourself a good basic rifle. Usually a Colt 6920, a Daniel Defense. And as far as like barrel length, dude, I know I'm like known for, I guess, having a hard on for barrel length. That's not really the case, man. I'm just trying to get the most velocity out of the 5.56 projectile. So a 16-inch barrel, if you have such little noodle arms that you can't lift a plain Jane full-size rifle, I'm going to have unfortunate news for you when it comes to real life. So I don't know, man. Man up. 2 inches of, however many inches of steel pipe is not going to kill you so much that you need to sacrifice about 1,000 feet per second. Is the difference between a 7.5-inch 5.56 and an 18-inch rifle. Seriously, it's that drastic. Okay, so you have a rifle. You need at least 7 magazines. Okay, need at least 7 magazines for the rifle. Although I could probably tuck a magazine in my back pocket and be pretty dang effective. I'm just saying, like, I'm constantly going to convey that aptitude by far outweighs equipment, okay? Now, we usually follow primary, secondary format, right, with gunfighting. No, at least that is the industry norm or trend that I see. So yeah, you need a secondary weapon. Usually it's like a Glock 19 or something like that. I know there's some people waiting for me to say Glock 34. I carry Glock 34, but that's for advanced users. So can't be scared to hoss down on it, you know? But you got to have like 4 magazines for that too. A concealment holster and an outside the waistband holster. You need one for your war belt and then one for your day-to-day life. And each of these weapons have to have a light because it's night half the time. And honestly, you're kind of dumb if you don't put a light on. Shit, is my initial mag I keep in my rifle is a 60 round Surefire. I've never had an issue with one, but I have yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with extra large on tap. Hey, no. Okay, so times 4 tourniquets. If you are not a paramedic, if you are not an EMT, then you probably don't need a decompression needle. You probably don't need a nasal pharyngeal. You probably don't need all of that stuff, man. Do what you can get away with and not receive like a lawsuit in return. So 4 tourniquets. And why 4 tourniquets? Well, an explosion. An explosion can have you singing a completely different tune in an instant, man. So 1 for each major limb. And I know that sounds morbid and grotesque and you probably, well, I will want to die anyways. Well, then go die. I'm just trying to provide you with insight. Okay. Need a rucksack. Now, my previous stream on this went over the rucksack and you guys saw how much equipment was in there. It's about 90 pounds of equipment, man. But I can tell you right now that that rucksack is going to take you a lot further than the latest and greatest sup def crap or whatever is out there, man. You know where my stance is on this. The rucksack will sustain you for weeks at a time, okay? So you got to have a good metal framed ruck. And some of you are like, oh, well, I have like an assault pack with an insertable plastic stiff board. That's not good enough, man. It has to be a metal frame, metal external frame, because it's got to carry like over 100 pounds, man. It's serious big boy stuff. And hopefully you don't have like herniated discs or anything like that. And now me, like, because I have Vinny can't carry weight that way because he's a dog, man. Like they don't anticipate physics with additional weight like that. They're not a pack animal. So I have to carry a week's worth of Vinny's food, man. And so like all this stuff is adding up, bro. I can tell you, dude, I've been in situations where I climb for hours, and then get up to the top of a ridge, and now you get into a gunfight. Because that's when they spring it on you. That's when ambushes happen, is when you're the most fatigued, when you're not paying attention and everything like that, man. Anybody have any questions so far? War belt. I'll say the war belt comes before the armor, honestly. Hang ear pro on it, a dump pouch. You have to have a large dump pouch, man. It's like a desk at work. Would you suggest against the Molly 2 rucksack with the plastic frame? Yeah, man, I didn't like the load balance on that ruck, even though I used that ruck a lot in Afghanistan too, and I just wasn't a fan compared to like Alice frame rucks. Good question, dude, good question. Okay, so on your war belt, like I keep an old Alice LC2 3 mag pouch, plus a speed mag pouch. So I've got 120 rounds on tap just with my belt. And I got my ear pro on there. I've got 2 pistol mags on there, tourniquets, eye pro. You got to have eye pro. Like, seriously, man, like your greatest sensory input to getting you out alive is your eyes. Take care of them, shield them. And don't be that guy at the range, man. Like, I've had friends where, like, dude, it wanted to shoot steel without wearing his eye pro, and then I spend 10 minutes digging a sliver of whatever out of his eye, man. And that's not cool. That's not cool. Wear your PPE. So after you have the rifle, the pistol, and the rifle needs to have a sling too, a 2-point sling, man. 1 point so you can kiss your kneecaps goodbye. Always keep a couple extra pair of foamies at least. Yeah, man, for sure. You can do that too. Okay, so some other skills like you should look into is you should spend time in the woods, man. Like, usually professional soldiers spend weeks and months in the field developing their abilities towards fieldcraft and patrolling and stuff like that. You, as a civilian, have precious days in comparison. So, like, and I know it's hard. You have to get your buddies together for a few days out in the woods, cease off all contact. That means then it's not like sitting around a campfire getting drunk at night. Like, it's actually walking most of the night because it's way smarter to do stuff at night. Okay, so land navigation, you should get a compass. You should become proficient with it. Again, active in martial arts, resistance training and ruck training, auto and general mechanical aptitude. Good rucksacks. I don't have a ruck, but check my last video, and there'll be... there's going to be, you know what, man? So I use a Tactical Tailor Malice 3. I've heard people say take a Philby ruck, throw that on an Alice frame. There's a bunch of different options out there. What you need to know further about them is that, like, they shouldn't really be, like, packed way too tall, because if you're in the prone with it, man, you have to shoot up. Like, okay, that becomes a problem. Okay, diverting from the rucksack thing, man, I don't have a gear list off the top of my head. I'm sorry, bro. But I do have this other relevant gear list right over here. Another thing you may consider getting is a protective mask, respirator mask, a gas mask. Why? Okay, the obvious, like tear gas, stuff like that. Let's think about like chemical plants. Chemical plants catch fire. Chlorine plants. Train derails. Like, there are any number of reasons why you may find the air in your environment not breathable. Okay, so maybe spend a couple $100 and get a little 40 millimeter gas mask. You don't have to go buku crazy with it, but it's nice to have. And then you should further learn to shoot that way. Pro mask shooting. That is why high mounted secondary optics on the rifle. So that way you can get sight alignment wearing a pro mask with a filter. It's something to take into consideration. Okay, so some basic concepts within, like, I'm a light infantryman and carry everything on my back and stay out of the forward operating base for weeks, months, whatever the case is. Some concepts that will keep you alive in these kinds of environments would be enfilade and defilade. Okay. Let's see, there's some really affordable NATO spec gas masks out there, but you got to know how to test them for proper seal, for sure. Great add-in. Enfilade, and defilade, okay? Let's talk about it real quick. So defilade is when you are in an elevated and covered position, meaning the cover will stop bullets, and you are looking down on your enemy, who is preferably in a column lined up like dominoes in front of your most casualty producing weapon, where you and your element are spread apart and able to bring every single one of your weapons to bear against said column of enemy. They're down there, they're in enfilade. You're up here, you're in defilade. An example of this would be rooftop Koreans during the riots. They have command they have commanding sectors of fire on the main avenue of approach towards their elevated and covered position, being the street, the alley. They have that concept down pat, man. Cover and concealment. Concealment is exactly that. It only conceals line of sight. Cover stops bullets, okay? Snow and earth both stop bullets. Let's see. Let's take the concept of bounding. So if you have two dudes, one shoots while another moves forward, and then he shoots, and then this guy moves forward. And it's a continuous process. So that way these guys are always moving, but they are supporting one another at all times. This is mutually supported maneuver. This is a concept that if you have more than one person, this is your multiplier. This is why they say two is one is none. Makes sense? Okay, mutually supported maneuver. And you don't have to be shooting in order to do this. You can simply have a guy watch through a rifle scope while your other dude walks. And then he'll watch while that dude walks. See how that works? See how he goes and he fetches the duck? I think that's about it that I need to cover for right now. Hey, Andy, what's good, bro? I'm glad to see you on here. So do you guys have any questions of me right now? Vinny, good stay, boy. Good. Good. Throw them at me. If you guys appreciate this content, you can donate. My Venmo is at David-Williams-1663, and then Cash App is Bayonet Fresh to Death with no A in death. We went through a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, too. Vinny, sit. Good. Stay. Well, if you guys don't have anything for me, wow, that's crazy. Okay, so something else I guess I can add to this. Understand concepts in... Love the knowledge drop. Thanks, man. Cool. Okay, so signal, command and control. So infantrymen use a concept called when they have support by fire, they use a concept called lift fire, shift fire. All right, you have to have pyrotechnic signal or audio signal along with radio communications in order to communicate it to one side and have that reciprocated back. Sorry it happens in so late. My bad, bro. It's okay, man. I didn't give any warning. I just told people I was going to be online here and that's it. So I probably caught a lot of people off guard. How many people are in here? 21 right now? 18 likes already? That's cool. I think my last video, last time I checked, it had over 400 views. So that's pretty good. And I'm kind of learning the ropes here. I was obviously nervous as shit the first live stream, and it was a self-defeating mechanism, man. There's literally no difference. It's just YouTube, not Instagram this time. So I will say that if you are in the armor arena, nobility is lethality. Just remember that. If you're in the armor arena, make sure you have a chest rig that is detachable and standalone wearable aside from your armor. Thank you for the advice. I'm definitely going to be using your videos to get my gear list in check and hopefully improve my training. Cool, man. Great to hear. I know, like, dude, honestly, okay, so, and it's not something that I can visually convey to you guys, but I'm a right-handed guy, and I run my pistol left-handed. Now, wasn't born with a left-handed draw stroke. I had to develop it, man. So just sit there and do it. Sit there and work on all of these movements, dude, all these basic movements. And I further like to divide them into micro and macro movements. Meaning like if I have the pistol compressed and I just come out to side alignment, that's a micro movement. It's just conditioning side alignment and arm extension. Okay, rather than draw stroke and then come up and, you know, holster retention defeat and all of that stuff. So divvy it up into smaller movements, because the more of those you master, the wider array of tasks they apply to, like compounded movements. Where do you keep your gas mask on your kid? It's got a bandolier strap, man. I can put it on my belt. It's modular. I can throw it in my ruck. I can throw it around my shoulder, wherever it needs to be. There's a pouch that comes with it. This is a pretty good one from Avon. A 10 out of 10 can recommend him as an instructor. From personal experience, it will be money well spent as an investment to developing your skill set. Thanks, Emmy. I appreciate that. Jordan, what's good, man? Yeah, I got super banned from Instagram, so we're on here now, and I'm gonna make this a weekly thing, unless I'm working on other work-related stuff. Hopefully everybody's winter was good. We're getting into lighter ruck season. Check it out. Not too much lighter, but a little bit lighter. Do you have any content on gear setup for beginners, like battle belt and chest rigs and such? So no, it's not a dumb question, man. Like I would like to offer compartmentalized content to address each thing. That's why I did a live stream with the rucksack. And so doing it live affords me the flexibility to be able to answer questions like this on the fly. And it's a little bit more seamless in content that way. There's not like, and honestly, I hate choreographing and memorizing lines. And maybe I'm probably just being a lazy sack of crap, but I prefer a live audience. So expect, like, the further we get into this, that I'm going to have streams devoted to each thing. Go ahead, Vinny, stay. Anybody else got any other questions? And again, I apologize. This stuff disappears really quick. Okay, cool. Right on. And again, man, if you think like people can benefit from this, and look, I know that something that, man, I missed you being on Insta for convenience. Yeah, I know, man. So here's the thing, dude. I know, like, compelling your family to kind of orient towards this aptitude, it's a lot bigger topic than I even began to cover on here. But here's the thing, dude, is like I teach all walks of life. I've taught children, I've taught older and middle-aged women, like every demographic that, like, and every family dynamic I've run into, man. And so I guess I'm kind of known for bitter pills. If you have somebody who ridicules this aptitude, they're probably scared of reality a little bit. And maybe you might be involved with a significant other that does not want the responsibility of personal safety or any involvement with it. So take that however you need to. What's up with the long slide gang? They in the house today? 34 Club. There's a way to gently bring up these topics, and like you can hear it here. I call it a spouse bias, man, and it occurs on both sides of the fence. It's like a dude can tell his wife the exact same thing that he is paying me to tell her, but she listens to me. Why? Because she's not in competition with me. I have trouble with eye dominance. Do you have any good recommendations for? Okay, so you have like a red dot or an optic on one of your guns. Practice doing that in your off eye. Practice, and like you can wink a little bit, but you can condition your eyes. It's a relatively quick turnaround. I missed that entire comment because I was busy explaining. I'm sorry, man. And that was like a paragraph's worth of typing. I'm so sorry, homie. I couldn't keep up. So another thing that prevents people from training, like, why not talk about this stuff? Because very often, like culturally, someone's only experience with a firearm is their family member's little spare parts kit for the Glock firing pin. Yeah. Okay. So typically, their only experience with a firearm has been, okay, we're all drinking out camping. Somebody give her a shotgun and watch her fumble with it. And when she shoots it and hits herself in the head, and now this girl is traumatized. Damn you, man. Like, how could you do that to somebody? Like, am I justified in being mad when I see stuff like that? Like, you're giving somebody the most negative correlation with shooting that you could ever. It's already negative enough, man. This is life and death. But instead you use it as a mocking point. Maybe you're the toxic pile of crap here. Good on her. She picked up the gun. It wasn't her fault that you laughed at her. I'm getting spam calls, notifications. It's like, dude, I don't know who got my phone number, but it is what it is. So many rifle requirements. I know it's a dead horse, but that would be appreciated. That will be rewind in this video, man. But I guess I'll say it again. I guess I'll add to it. The more velocity a 5.56 has, the more catastrophic its terminal ballistics are. Now, also, the longer the barrel and gas system of a rifle, the more volume for decompressing chamber gas it has, thusly less recoil it has, and the softer the wear and tear is on the components that comprise the rifle. It's overall a higher performance system the longer the barrel is. And I'm sorry that you have noodle arms that can't find a way to fit an 18-inch heavy barrel 5.56. What are the biggest skill you see people lacking, not talking about as to the sphere of warfighting? Patrolling, man. Like, getting out into the woods and learning how to exist without a campfire, without, like, the kumbaya time and stuff. Like, actually the nitty gritty, like, okay, we got to rotate a guard shift because we have to pull security in 2 different directions tonight. So it looks like I'm going to get about only 2 hours of sleep. And not packing stuff up because it's a little bit chilly out. Like, dude, I did Virginia this year. I think it was between 5 and 15 degrees. Still out there standing 400-meter shots, getting the heart rate up, running around in the dark, doing reloads. On the flip side, if you want to properly introduce a loved one to self-preservation, but they don't have the drive to learn, force it, or set them the hard way, glad to see you back, homie. Rifle brand's important, or just most ballistic recommendations? Yeah, they are kind of important, man. I did go over this before. It's generally Department of Defense manufacturer makes and models. What do you need, boy? You don't get to whine? Good stay, though. Now, down. Good. And Vinny stay. He's been a good boy. He's stayed here for like 40 minutes. Like, he's a good boy. 100% purebred good boy. Hopefully nobody posed a question while I was handling Vin. But either way, yeah, fundamental marksmanship and using your entire body to shoot are just the baseline. And so, like, I guess in the grand scheme of things, you need to move beyond this quickly, and you need to spend some time out in the woods, or out in the wherever, the desert. If you live in the desert, guess what you're limited to? Okay, yeah, you got to rethink how you do things. You're only going to be limited to doing things at night. In the event of, and like, what is the event of? I don't know, man. I'm not, like, anything could happen. I've seen far crazier things than destabilization of somebody's pathetic little reality. Much respect from upstate New York. Vinny Vincenzo. Hey, man, that's a good name, bro. That's this dude's name. I had a buddy once, he was trying to get his son into shooting, and he was like getting aggravated because his son wasn't taking to it the way he wanted to. I'm like, look, dude, you gotta stop. I'm like, I'm not trying to tell you how to dad, but the more you get mad at him, the more traumatic he's gonna think it is. And he's like, all right, you're right, you're right. And now this kid can't get enough of it, and he's shooting competition like it's fucking cool, man. Drop the F-bomb. Don't tell anybody. Some YouTube moderators watching me right now. I'm gonna get the boot. I don't know. But either way, man, I think that about covers everything for, and we're going to get further into this. So just, if I didn't answer one of your questions, man, just, I'll be back next Thursday and we're going to have a relevant topic to talk about. Okay. But everybody have a safe week until then. And thanks again for tuning in. If you think that somebody might find this valuable, send it to them and tell them to subscribe to the page. I appreciate it. All right. You guys have a good week.